Hi there. My name is Lynn Jocelyn. I'm a functional medicine physician assistant, and I have a small micro practice in Durango, Colorado called Integrated Spectrum of Health Functional Medicine Membership. And today I'm going to give you a quick clinical topic on hot flashes. And we're just going to learn a little bit and maybe some tips and tools that will support you if this is something you're experiencing or want to get ready for. Okay, let me just get that set there. So, my mission at Integrated Spectrum of Health is to empower people to optimize health through a functional medicine and a colorful approach so that you can embody your birthright of vitality, connection, and joy so that you can live your life on purpose and harness the healing power in community. So, hot flashes. Okay. The most common reason we talk about hot flashes is during the menopausal period when the body's estrogen for female bodies is beginning to decrease. Now, there are other reasons people get hot flashes, and we'll touch base on those. But the biggest reason is the perimenopausal period, estrogen declining. And what we'll learn in today's talk, it's actually in the deeper set point of the brain in the hypothalamus that also has a big play in this. So if you've experienced hot flashes in the past, you understand this picture. It is a feeling that sort of comes deep within, and you almost have to run away to escape it, but you can't always do that. Okay, so one thing I want to share with you is I was at a lecture one time and I absolutely love this. Let's rename hot flashes to power surges, right? So it's always the lens we're looking through. Sure, they're still going to be really uncomfortable and sometimes take you down. But if you can remember that you can gain power during this perimenopause and menopausal time of life and really lean into what's here for you now, let's talk about these as power surges. So, depending on research, this does vary. It's kind of all over the map, but 50 to 85% of women will experience hot flashes. These are also known as vasomotor symptoms. So, you may see either term in the literature or in the interwebs looking at health things. Hot flashes often are combined with night sweats. Many women experience worsening hot flashes in the night and also can't even wake up, full on sweat, have to change their nightwear. So it actually starts in the brain. Deep in the hypothalamus, which is a deep part of the brain, there's an area called the thermoregulatory center. And this is the part of the body that regulates temperature. It's really simple. This part of the brain is sensitive to changes in serotonin, norepinephrine, and there's estrogen. Estrogen is the main thing that's talked about in accordance with hot flashes. This area in the brain also becomes more destabilized with age. So not only do you have estrogen declining during the menopausal time, but this area also gets destabilized with age. So there's two things affecting the thermoregulatory center in the hypothalamus that trigger hot flashes. And it's not just low estrogen. It's actually not low estrogen that causes this disruption in the thermoregulatory center. It is the change, the rapid up and down. And if you are perimenopausal, you understand your estrogen is not stable and regular to the regular cycles that it had been in the past. So the center kind of freaks out. It thinks your core is hot, right? So it gets a signal that the body is really, really hot. And our core in our body has all of our vital organs, right? The heart, the lungs, digestion, liver, they're all kind of at our core. So we don't want those things to heat up. And so the brain says, oh no, the core is really hot because the thermoregulatory center is, it's much more narrow. And so it dilates the vessels that go to the skin and the extremities. And that's why during hot flashes, people can actually flush. They feel sweating on their skin. They feel this heat on the exterior part of their body. And it's actually the body's wisdom. I'm trying to cool you down so this center doesn't get too hot. But it doesn't feel that way if you're experiencing it. So this is just a busy slide, but I wanted to show you this because I think it's, and then I'm going to hone in just on the vasomotor instability part of this. But look up here. So this is pathophysiology of menopause organ changes. This is estradiol. Estradiol is the main, there's 3 forms of estrogen that we talk about. Estradiol is the most prominent and the biggest change during perimenopause. And as it decreases, and remember, it's the change, the up and downs, but it can affect all of these areas. So our central nervous system, which is deep within the hypothalamus, the vasomotor, the hot flash instability, urogenital mucosa. So this is changes in the vaginal tissue. It can change the urogenital tissues, bladder, and then cardiovascular and bones. Today, we are focusing on vasomotor instability. So let's take a little closer just on that area. We talked about norepinephrine and serotonin also being things that can that change, and the thermoregulatory center is very sensitive to those changes. This area in the hypothalamus becomes more narrow, the set point. It doesn't have as much width, and so it reacts at a much more narrow threshold. And it causes hot flashes, night sweats, and thus sleep disturbances, right? Which can lead to depression and daytime fatigue. So it's kind of a vicious cycle, right? The thermoregulatory center goes off, tells the body the core is way too hot, kicks the blood flow out to the external, the extremities, the skin. We get a hot flash. It wakes us up. We're not getting as good sleep, not falling into that deep sleep. That begins to shift our neurotransmitters. Some women will experience some depression or mood changes and daytime fatigue. So what is the role of cortisol and hot flashes? This is a question that recently came up to me, so I wanted to put it in this talk. So the literature is interesting. There hasn't been shown a direct A to B role. Cortisol causes hot flashes, but cortisol is such a major hormone in the body that it has such a big play in what we call the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, the HPA axis. So when our bodies are stressed, which can happen with hot flashes, our cortisol levels can rise. It has also been found in one study that women who experience greater, more intense and severe hot flashes in midlife may also have subtle abnormalities in their free cortisol concentrations. That is a pattern consistent of also cortisol disruptions with people experiencing chronic sleep disturbances. And this pattern is a low cortisol awakening response and a higher afternoon or evening cortisol level. So one thing we know about cortisol, now this is just basic cortisol physiology. First thing in the morning, right when you wake up, we want your cortisol to rise, okay, within that first 30 minutes. We want a nice, beautiful rise because that is the body's internal, what I call stress test or ability to tell us if the sympathetic nervous system is working. So that cortisol awakening response goes up, and then slowly it goes down over the course of the whole day until evening. The cortisol is low so that we're able to go to sleep, right? Because cortisol being high may stimulate. Now, people with a low cortisol awakening response, so just that first 30 minutes of cortisol doesn't rise quite as high as we would like it, continues to go down all day, but maybe begins to rise in the evening. Okay, so when it rises in the evening, this can cause sleep disturbances. So there has been some research that's taking a look at if women have this pattern, low awakening response, first 30 minutes, not quite the rise we want in cortisol, and starts to rise in the late afternoon and evening, they may have worsening hot flashes. I just thought that was interesting. So I want to share a video with you because this shows you the part in the hypothalamus that I'm talking about, and it's a great little video. Okay, so here we go. Maybe. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to play this video. There we go.
Vasomotor symptoms associated with menopause, commonly referred to as VMS or hot flashes and night sweats, are sudden, intense feelings of heat that spread throughout the body, which may result in excessive sweating and flushing. Up to 80% of women experience VMS during the menopausal transition. VMS negatively impacts a woman's quality of life, disrupting her sleep and mood. For too long, explanations of VMS have been limited to declining estrogen alone. Advances in science have expanded our understanding of the role of specific neuronal pathways in the hypothalamus. Inside the thermoregulatory center in the hypothalamus, specific neurons, known as KNDy neurons, contribute to regulation of the body's temperature. KNDy neurons are inhibited by estrogen and stimulated by the neuropeptide neurokinin B, or NKB, in a delicate balance. Through the menopausal transition, declining estrogen disrupts the balance with NKB. Unopposed, NKB signaling increases KNDy neuronal activity, leading to hypertrophy of the KNDy neuron and altered activity on the thermoregulatory center. As a result, the thermoregulatory center triggers heat dissipation effectors that are experienced as hot flashes and night sweats, or VMS. We now know that VMS results from altered activity of the KNDy neurons in the hypothalamus.
Okay, so now we will go back to the presentation. So I just think that was such a great video to show. You can see where estrogen is necessary for the balance of those two neurons, right? And when estrogen is not available, it goes what we call unopposed. And so that's what happens deep within the hypothalamus. Okay, so you might not even be hot or warm, but your brain thinks you are, right? Okay, so other factors, right? So we talked about perimenopausal symptoms, the changing, shifting up and down of estrogen, stimulating or not being there to find that balance in the thermoregulatory center of the hypothalamus. That causes hot flashes, but other things can too. Certain medications, blood sugar dysregulation. If you've ever noticed your blood sugar drop, you can get that warm, hot feeling, kind of feel faint. Thyroid issues, it's rare, but certain forms of cancer can cause hot flashes, anxiety or panic attacks. Niacin is a form of a B vitamin that sometimes is used for cholesterol lowering. That can cause flushing, wine, and spicy foods. So, thinking about this, if you already have perimenopausal hot flashes, and then you add another one of these, your hot flashes could potentially be worsened. So what can we do about these? So be prepared. It's likely coming. Expect it. Dress in layers. Wear cotton, synthetic bedding, and things can kind of trap and hold that heat in. Look for cooling pads for the bed to sleep on. Use a fan. Be ready. Manage your stress. Set boundaries. Say no. Set time for yourself. Play, laugh, and find joy. Remember, if you're stressed, your cortisol goes up. Cortisol has a play in your HPA axis and can affect hot flashes as well. Cool showers, even before bed, can support you. Watching your triggers. So coffee, tea, spicy foods, hot soups, red wine. And you may find a trigger for you that's not on this list, but it's very personal to you. So notice when you get a hot flash, kind of work backwards. What caused that? Talk with your practitioner about certain herbs. I never recommend starting herbs without talking with your practitioner. If we're working together, we'll certainly talk about these things. But maca, black cohosh, alfalfa, hops, have all been shown to be supportive with hot flashes, and also vitamin E or evening primrose oil. Hormone menopausal therapy can be very supportive and helpful. You need to be working with a practitioner to talk about this. Check your thyroid levels to make sure that's normal. This is a great little handout that I have. If we're working together and you would like one of these, please let me know. This just goes through all the other remedies and things you can do to support your body so that perhaps you decrease the intensity of the hot flashes or decrease them altogether. Working through gut health, adrenal support, temperature fluctuations, just being aware of your environment, avoiding triggers, using certain foods. There's really great foods that can support more cooling of your body. Acupuncture is fantastic, botanical and herbal remedies, and then hormone replacement therapy. So thanks for being here today for a quick clinical topic. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. If we're working together, I'll see you at our next private visit. And if not, and you're curious to work together, you can check out more information at my website at lynnjocelyn.com. And I hope you have a great day.